Hey everybody, welcome back to the Always Out of Market NFL podcast. We got our standard crew for the most part today. We've got Jason, Matthew, Tyler, and me. Tyler is being represented by our sponsor Dubby today, so we'll get into that. We'll probably do the ad read probably right after news, Jason. And we want to say before we get started, thank you guys so much for watching the last episode, the episode where we had an interview with Dalton Cole, who was supposed to be the quarterback for the Albany Empire. That episode is like almost to 400 views. If you haven't seen it already, highly recommend. It's probably one of our best episodes we've done so far, and we'd love to get that 400 mark. And also gained a few subs off it as well. So, also if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel, and let's get into it. So we've got today we've got news. Jason's gonna ask us each some questions for something. We don't really know what he's doing with that, so we'll find out when we get there. And then we've got our bold predictions at the end. We have like a visual for that as well. So if you're listening to this on one of your podcast platforms, you might want to check out the YouTube channel to actually see the visual aspect of it. Jason?
All right, so for our news, let's get started with ESPN laying off around 20 on-air personalities. I mean, from every sport that ESPN covers, really, someone has been let go, whether it be college basketball, the NFL, the MLB, NBA, anything. And there were quite a few very big names that got dropped, like David Pollock, CC Colbert, Vince Carter, Steve Young. All those people are out. So what do you guys think about that?
Either they're making up enough room to cover the Pat McAfee transaction, or they're trying to make another move.
That's what I was about to say, because I mean we all know the big news of Pat McAfee getting that deal with ESPN, and we still don't really know what the actual deal was. They've been pretty private about it, but I mean it had to have been a lot of money. It just had to have been, because he was already making a bunch of money with FanDuel before that, so it had to have been a really big deal. And it just seems like to me ESPN is like, we've got to change, or else we're gonna fall into the wasteland.
They've already started that process because they've kept those people a lot longer than they should have, and it's been like the same programming for like 20 years.
Yeah,
which it's not good to like viewers.
I just don't know. Like, I mean, just the fact that they went through that many changes and did it all like that, they've got to have a big plan. Because, I mean, for you to make all that firings, you've got to have the next person lined up or something.
I mean, there were rumors that Shannon Sharp was going to join ESPN, but there's also like rumors that he's going to take Pat McAfee's spot for FanDuel. So
we'll see.
All I know is those people have seen more money in their lives than I will see in the entirety of mine. So
that's true.
I mean,
unless this podcast really blows up.
Well, yeah, that'd be great. I would not complain.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. I just, for the most part, like, I mean, I don't really care so much for ESPN. Like, I would mostly, if I was watching stuff, I would watch NFL Network anyway over ESPN. But yeah. Monday Night Football was good, but I guess that's still more technically ABC instead of ESPN. But
I mean, ESPN had to spend the money to get the commentators, though.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the next thing I have on here is about, I wish Gavin were here for this, because it's about Tyreek Hill. He's under investigation by police and now under investigation by the NFL for allegedly hitting a man at a marina in Miami and then offering him $200 worth of hush money.
$200.
That shit kills me.
I think I saw another quote where he said that I could buy you and the boat. And it's like, why don't you own your own boat then? Like...
So did he address any of this? Because he has a podcast. I haven't really listened to his podcast, but y'all know if he talked about it?
No idea.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I just think it's hilarious that he tried to offer them $200.
It's like,
That man is a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
He's like, I got $200 in my wallet. You want it?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Oh, I'm suing for so much money.
Did they ever say what it was? Like, was it like a disagreement or something?
No, I think what caused it, I don't know. I just know he like slapped the shit out of this guy or something.
You know, I don't know what caused it whatsoever.
how many wide receiver ones in the NFL don't have don't do something just batshit crazy and it just goes viral? Like, it just,
Yeah,
I
really,
mean,
it just
It
seems
really
like all
feels
the
that
wide
way.
receiver ones are divas or they get themselves
AJ
in
Brown doesn't do
trouble.
anything too crazy though.
He's
you
a
know?
diva though. He's a big
I mean, that's
diva.
what most good wide receivers are.
I mean, I
divas.
feel like they should be because they know they're like the best out there. So, but I don't know. The news of Tyreek Hill is interesting, but I mean, he's not gonna have to serve any sort of suspension or anything, is he? Or do we not know yet?
I mean, he
They-
might.
That's why the NFL is looking into it. They asked the police for video because there is video on like a security camera, and the NFL asked for it. So
I mean, it's also not his first time being in trouble for assault.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I mean, there could be like a short suspension, like maybe 1 or 2 games coming up, depending on how they feel about it, and I guess also depending on what comes of the case. I mean, assault could give him a couple months in jail. Who knows?
I just think now with the market, and I know we're going to get into it in a minute, but just all these different, how do you weigh all these suspensions and stuff compared to each other? So, because we've
Yeah.
got all sorts
I
of
feel
issues
like-
going on.
I feel like if gambling on like stuff at team facilities is 6 games, then like assault should be more than that.
You would think so.
That's the thing,
would
isn't it? Were they talking about like it being like 4 games, and it's like, how is that not as bad, or how is that not as bad as gambling? Like, it should be way worse than gambling. But
It's a weird system.
I think they should just let every NFL player assault whoever they want to with no consequence.
But hey, don't you dare gamble at the facility. Even if
Yes.
it's on an NBA game, that's 6 games minimum.
What
I mean,
else? You got?
everybody has like, ties everywhere. That's all you can really say about it. The next thing I have is it's another suspension. Jaguars offensive tackle Cam Robinson suspended for 4 games for violating the performance enhancing drug policy.
So
Wasn't he-
PEDs is less than gambling too. I forgot about that. Like, what?
But
what?
wasn't he already? Didn't he injure himself or some shit? I remember something during the draft where they talked about him being in trouble. So does he have that on top of something else?
I don't remember hearing anything about that.
I could have sworn he got something happen to him around the draft.
You okay, Matthew?
I tried to readjust and I fucking pulled my headset off.
You're good.
Let's see. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, like Steven said, the fact that he used performance enhancing drugs and got less of a suspension than somebody betting on a non NFL game
Yeah.
is crazy.
Completely fair.
No, it's not. It's not. Because that's the whole thing. Like, I feel like the whole reason the whole gambling issue is such a big deal is because they're considering they don't want the integrity of the NFL being in question, like it already is. I mean, there's always people saying it's scripted and stuff like that, and especially, I mean, in my opinion, you bet on your own team, especially if you bet on your own team to lose or something, then that's a big deal. Like, you pick the under on your own team for something, that's a big deal. Because then everyone's going to be, like, watching you play and be like, you made
Every time you drop a pass, it's like
or make
that's
it,
on
or
purpose.
completely miss a tackle if you're a defensive
Yeah.
player. Things like that, it's like, you're going to be questioning that.
Hey.
But PEDs definitely is an integrity thing because it's like, you're making it to where you're probably going to play better and give yourself a better edge by cheating.
There's no
So,
probably.
Yeah,
At least-
yeah, you
At
definitely
least
will.
when
Yeah,
Calvin, at least when Calvin really bet on his team, he bet on them to win.
Well, see, I feel like that's less bad in that case. Like, I feel like gambling on your own team to win at least is a chance to where you might get suspended or whatever, but a team might be willing to pick you up. If I was like if you were a free agent and I knew that you bet the against your own team, I would not touch you. I would not pick you
No.
up because I'm like, I'm never gonna know if I can trust this guy to actually play. So
Well,
Speaking of gambling,
speaking of gambling, it's how do you say his name? Nicholas Petit Frere.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
you
He's
nailed
suspended
it.
for 6 games for betting on non-NFL games at his team facility.
Yes.
Um,
And he made like a statement saying that it was non-NFL and he did it inside the facility, but he did not realize that he couldn't do it there. And I'm like, how do you not know that? They've talked about
players. I've seen players say that the CBA is very. They're not very clear on, like they weren't clear about where you can gamble and where you can't gamble when they talk to the players.
Yeah, but they've all seen 15 other people get suspended before the season's even started. I mean, you know that not to gamble, or you're gonna get fucking suspended. So
that's what I was saying before we started the podcast. That if I was in the NFL making, I mean, they make good money even if you're on a rookie contract. You're making hella good money. Just don't risk it. I just would
Exactly.
not gamble at all. I just would not touch it. Like as far as gambling, maybe I would go to like a casino or something, like to bet on like blackjack and something like that. But I would
Yeah.
not touch. I wouldn't touch FanDuel, DraftKings, any of those things, because all of those track where you are because they have to know where your location is to make sure it's legal for you to even be playing there. So they know all that information. They keep up with that shit. So just
Also,
I wouldn't touch it.
I don't think I said it, but he plays for the Titans. So just for anybody who didn't know.
Oh yeah, and that's why
might be-
me and Tyler knew who he was. Yeah, so he's the right tackle. So our offensive line is screwed because we have no depth whatsoever. So I mean, he was a decent right tackle. I mean, he didn't have like the best last season, but I mean, overall though, he's still I still think he was about to have a good jump as far as a offensive lineman goes. But now I don't know what we're gonna do at right tackle. Maybe they put Peter Skoronski, who they drafted, and it was supposed to be a left guard. Maybe they try him out at right tackle too now. I don't know.
they'll probably try something like that just to have somebody fill that gap until they find an actual right tackle.
At least it's only 6 games.
Yeah, it's only 6 games. He's not out like the whole season for it.
But they got to do something for 6 games, and our 6 games at the beginning are not easy. So they're gonna have to figure something out, and that's why I figured they'll probably do like Skoronski, because they drafted Skoronski. He was left tackle out of Northwestern. They've been trying him out at left guard in like training camp stuff, but maybe they could see how he. I mean, they still got more camp to go. So
Yeah, they got this line.
yeah. Anyway, we can move on.
Well, we can just stick with the Titans. Y'all just had a lot of bad news this week.
Yeah.
With Hassan Haskins was arrested and charged with aggravated assault by strangulation. That is
No fine, no suspension.
yet. I can see him being cut now. That's an offense that can get you into a lot of trouble.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I was kind of thinking that there was a chance he was going to get cut anyway. Tyler and I have talked about it a good bit. So the big thing is, so of course you got Derrick Henry at running back as your RB1, but then they also drafted Tyjae Spears, who is not only going to be running back 2, he definitely is going to be RB2, but also he does special teams type stuff. He does kick returns and stuff like that. And that was one thing that was kind of helping us on Haskins, but he had a lot of drops when he was, I mean, he dropped at least 1 or 2 in the season last season. Like, we did real bad on the returns and special teams. But also, they've got Julius Chestnut, who also does that. So they've already got 3 other running backs. All I'm saying is, you get into a situation where you got to figure out one more cut for the 53-man roster. I feel like that's an easy decision. Just get rid of Hassan Haskins. And that sucks, because I like him. I mean, I don't like him as a character, obviously, as a person, given this situation, but I liked him as a player.
Yeah. Next thing I've got is Jets safety Chuck Clark suffered a torn ACL, and he will be out for the whole season. It's a big blow for the Jets, wanting to they want to come out and be, show that they're a Super Bowl capable team, just getting Aaron Rodgers and some other assets added to the team, and then they lose a safety before the season even starts. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I still think. I mean, what are did that actually affect like the odds or anything? Do y'all know? Because I mean, I don't even know what they've got the Jets listed out as odds for like winning the Super Bowl, but you talk to anybody that's a fan of the Jets, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl."
They said that last year, though.
Well,
yeah,
but I mean, you got to think about it. They've got the 2 rookies of the year this last year, and they always say a sophomore jump is always the biggest one. So
maybe so. I don't know.
We'll see.
So
now they're gonna have a real quarterback.
Well,
according to Caesar's Sportsbook, the Jets are listed as a plus 1,500 right now for the Super Bowl.
okay. So I'm guessing Chiefs are probably the lowest.
I would say, just for fun, we can go through this real quick.
Yeah,
just for fun.
just a few of them. Yeah.
The Chiefs are plus 600. The Eagles are plus 750. The Bills are plus 900. Those are the top 3. Let's see. We go over our teams. The Dolphins are plus 2,500. The Seahawks are plus 4,000. The Broncos are plus 4,000. The Packers are plus 5,000. And the Titans are plus 10,000.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be good.
The 2 lowest teams are the Cardinals and the Texans at plus 20,000.
Easy money.
But I mean, imagine you throw $100 on one of those teams and then they do win the Super Bowl.
You could also just
I
up.
definitely wouldn't throw 100 on Arizona.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could also just light a $100 bill on fire and you'll have the same result. So, all right, well, let's move on.
All right. Got the Patriots signed Devontae Parker to a new deal. It's a 3-year contract worth up to $33 million and includes $14 million guaranteed. I think his contract was about to be up whenever they, I think it might have been up like after this season or something. And from what I understand, this is just an entire new contract.
I think they were trying to figure out, because they're moving money around to make salary cap space.
Yeah.
Because
trying to make room for DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, because right now they are the leading candidate for DeAndre Hopkins. So I know when we talked about it in a previous episode that like we predicted the Texans. They haven't even been in the talks at all.
Yeah.
At all.
I think it's down to the Patriots and the Titans at this point.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of Browns talk too.
I've seen the Browns and the Panthers are like sleeper picks.
Yeah, they're like the dark horse.
It'd take a lot less money for the Browns, though.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that's what's weird, is because this situation is like, well, hey, they made another big signing. Maybe they're out of the sweepstakes, but at the same time, with the way that they did the contract, because the salary cap doesn't make any sense, they found a way to kind of do it to make more cap space. So
they probably just backloaded the contract.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that like. That's why everyone says the salary cap isn't really real, because you can just figure out a way that you can do void years, you can do all sorts of weird shit,
shifted to
guaranteed money,
Yeah.
things like that, just to lower your cap hit. So there's always ways to make everything work.
Yep. I've got one more bullet point for the news, and that is that Germany loves the NFL. For the Chiefs-Dolphins game that's going to be in Frankfurt this year, there were roughly 1.5 million people in queue for tickets.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sold out in like 15 minutes, I think.
It had to be quicker than that. There were so many people in the queue. I mean, that's crazy. If they were to put a team overseas at Germany, Frankfurt would be a good place, it looks like, considering how many people were in a queue to buy tickets. That's...
I just can never see them actually doing an overseas team.
I mean, logistically, it won't work.
I mean, there used to be NFL Europe.
If they had an NFL league in Europe specifically, it could probably work these days. But
You can't just put one team overseas. It's way too much travel and everything.
Yeah, that would put that team at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
Just all
Every
that travel.
week.
They still
Every
probably
week they would get a disadvantage.
they'd still
And
probably
whatever
travel.
team is coming that way.
Yeah, and they'd still probably travel less than the Seahawks, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we forgot to mention the Colts players that were for the gambling thing.
I think we already talked about them because I think
Did we?
talked-
I thought we only talked about the Titans player.
We didn't talk about it, but I am gonna bring it up in these questions that I have I'm gonna ask.
Okay.
So if you guys are ready, I have 4 questions for you guys that I wanna hear the answers for.
Sure.
All right. So we talked about Cam Robinson being suspended for PEDs. So I want to know how many failed PED tests should it take to be banned from the NFL?
3 strikes and you're out.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
3 strikes, you're out. Yes.
So right now, 1 fail is 4 games, which is what he's got right now. A second failed test is the entire year, and then it starts over again, and then in a new league year. So,
no, I would say, you know, maybe. I think if they keep it at 4, they should definitely move the gambling suspension to be less. It should definitely be less than PEDs. But then whatever that suspension is for your first
as long
strike,
as long as the gambling is at the team facilities and not on NFL games.
Well, but then after that, I do think strike 2 should be a whole season, and then strike 3 should be you're not going to play in the NFL anymore, probably. Go play in the USFL or XFL because they'll take whatever they can get. I mean,
yeah.
As far as previous NFL players, I guess. So.
All right. All right. And then I wanna ask, what is your stance on the NFL still testing for marijuana? Should it still be suspendable or finable in today's game?
No.
Okay, I figured we were all gonna say no.
Weed should be legal everywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the NBA has stopped testing for that shit.
I think so.
Yeah, the NFL has not though. If you smoke weed, you can get suspended or fined for it, or both.
NFL's gonna drag their feet on everything, though. I mean, I just feel like that's where they're at. Every time they make any little decision, they have to have some big meeting about it, and they end up deciding on something no one cares about instead.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I've got another question. So in the last 2 years, the gambling suspension list has grown a ton. We've had Calvin Ridley, Isaiah Rodgers, Rashad Berry, Demetrius Taylor, CJ Moore, Quintez Cephas, and Shaka Toney have all been hit with at least 1-year suspensions. And Nicholas Petit-Frere, Jameson Williams, and Stanley Berryhill have all been suspended for 6 games for betting on non-NFL games. So my question is, what kind of suspension do you think a player should receive for betting on an NFL game that doesn't include their team?
None. I think you should be able to bet on anything as long as it's not on your own team.
That can be a slippery slope because like they could do insider trading and stuff and be like,
I mean,
hey,
yeah. I just think
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with them not being able to bet on any NFL game. I feel like it should be more relaxed if they're betting on other games like NBA or like NHL, like shit like that. So it should be a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I agree with Tyler just because, like, I mean, a lot of these guys, like, they play for different teams, but in the off season, they work out together and stuff, so they all know each other pretty well. You know players from other teams. So you could easily, like, get some insider information and be like, hey, so is he going to play this week? You know, things like that. And that can get to where it's a little unfair, so to speak, for gambling. So it gives you a little more edge, but
I feel like there's enough. There's not very many players, if any, that are just going to willingly throw the game. I feel like there's not very many.
I'm not saying throw the game. I'm just saying
I know.
They'll know like who's out, who's in, who's out, things like that.
I don't think that really affects it that much. One player's not going to make you lose most of the time.
I mean, It depends on the team, I think.
Yeah.
Too.
Also
But-
depends on the position.
Yeah, I mean, but there's and I just gave an example. There's plenty of things
Yeah.
that they could find out like that. Big situations that can really affect a game. So I just don't think you should bet NFL at all. I don't know as far as suspension goes. Again, I feel like they really need to figure out. I don't want to answer this question just because I got to figure out how they weigh different things like PEDs, like strangulation, stuff like that. There needs to be. They need to figure out like how you're gonna actually what's worse than each other because
the penalty system is kind of like because if you gamble it on your team, it's this whole season. But like Deshaun Watson can get accused of like all those sexual assault allegations and only be suspended for like 11 games.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a slip. It's weird. Like it needs to be set in stone. Like this is this is this. Like not we're feeling like this today.
This can be something we come back to before the season starts as well. I kind of thought maybe later on, towards closer to the season, we talk about how we feel about the suspensions because there are probably going to be more before the season starts. The way that this offseason has gone so far, it seems like that. So we can always revisit this, and when we have a little bit more time, go into more detail with it.
It's just it's just such a mess right now, and it's like it seems like no one's on the same page on how everything is handled. There's still confusion about it. I mean, we've even talked about it. A lot of people talking about the confusion on whether they could bet on Kelsey and Mahomes in the golf tournament. I would say it's golf, so you should be able to bet on that. But they're like, well, the players, you could know, hey, Kelsey was hitting real good yesterday,
Yeah,
it's
a
slippery
slope.
Slippery slope, yeah.
And I think the Colts guy, I think he bet like typical like $5 and like $20 bets or something like that, and then like the over under on rush yards he bet 1,000. So it seems like he may have gotten information.
Yeah, he
from, like,
seemed
the
like he
offense.
knew something.
All I'm saying though, as long as he bet the over, you bet the under or you bet against your team, like no one's ever going to trust you. No one's going to want to have you on your team because they're always going to think that you're going to be playing against yourself. So, like we said earlier.
I think we just let all betting, make it all legal to where we watch people try and throw games against each other and see who can lose the most games.
Think about the stats though they could add on. Amazon loves their stats. They've got the big stat thing. Imagine them adding on, this guy's 1 for 6 on gambling on his own team.
This man hasn't hit on any parlays.
Yeah, exactly. If it's like that, I mean, if they make it all legal and it's just like the games are a complete mess, then why not? Like at that point, just go all in on it.
They find out one quarterback bet that he would throw 3 interceptions, so the defenders just keep dropping the ball.
Well, yeah, because they took the under.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott's like, I've got this. All right.
I've got one more question. It's
Okay.
a little bit tougher question for you. If you could add or subtract a rule in the NFL, what would it be?
I'd make roughing the quarterback reviewable. Did they already do that?
Not as far as I know.
Yeah, they need to do that.
God, I was thinking that too. I was thinking something with roughing the passer for sure.
Or I would make it where officials have to like do a press conference afterwards and explain what they saw and why they called it that way.
That's not really a rule though. That's not like an NFL rule.
I mean, they should be available to media though. They should answer why they called something the way they did.
I think they should make it to where if you get the ball through the uprights on the kickoff, it's like 2 points or something. That'd be cool.
I like that actually.
I mean,
the Ravens will get so many points.
yeah, but it would make teams go out and get better kickers.
True. True.
I mean, they are. That's the thing that I find so interesting. I mean, it's called football for us, but like people just don't care about special teams at all.
They don't.
It's like people don't treat kickers like people. They love you
Not until they miss that field goal.
Yeah, they love you. They love you when you win them a game, and then they hate you when you lose them a game, and then the rest of the time they just don't care about you. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I hate to kind of piggyback off Tyler, but I was also thinking about roughing the passer. Like, they've got to do something, add some way, and it doesn't necessarily have to be reviewed by them right there. Like, anytime there's a big, like, play like that can just completely derail a game because of a bad call, like, that's where I feel like they need to get the people in New York involved, like, to, like, watch the footage and, like, have them review it, because then you also take out, I mean, we saw it a lot in the Thursday night games because it's like that's the only game going on. But like if you have those people on standby, it's like, hey, in this game we just had something that was called roughing the passer. Let's bring them in and have them review it, and then you take away the suspicion that those refs in that game are, you know, betting on it or anything like that, because then you've got an outside perspective. So I feel like finding a way, and it doesn't have to be just for roughing the passer, like just certain big plays like that, maybe always add in that you bring in New York to review it. So
I was gonna say I feel like every penalty should be reviewable or challenged.
yeah, but I'm just thinking about how much that would slow down a game in
It
general.
would slow it down. But I mean, for like stuff like false start and offsides, those are usually pretty obvious, so you wouldn't have to review them to see if that was actually what happened. But for like pass interference, roughing the passer, there's blindside blocks, stuff like that. Those things don't happen a ton, but when they do, it's usually during a big part of the game.
Yeah.
So I feel like those should be reviewable and be challengeable.
I could definitely see the challengeable part, because I mean, of course, coaches only have a certain amount of challenges, so they
Only two.
So they couldn't just, and maybe if they add that, they add like a couple more for some reason. But I think something like that, because at least you've got a limit. But I think if you did that, like, you'd be reviewing every play, because just think about, I mean, even if a call is right, if it's against the home team, everybody in that stand's going to be booing regardless, even if it was a right call. Now, if it's absolutely a wrong call, that's when they're really loud, and that's when it's like, okay, come on.
I'm also sure you could find a penalty on any play, honestly.
Probably.
I mean,
what about anything goes the last 2 minutes of the game, no penalties get called?
You want it like NFL blitz where you can tackle the receiver before he catches the ball?
Yes.
Remember in the last season we were talking about they just put in concrete on the ground and everything instead of turf. It's like at the last 2 minutes they're like, all right, fucking brawl, let's do this.
I would get rid of turf, and I'd change the rough and patch thing. I'd get rid of turf, all grass.
That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually.
Yeah.
They're billionaires. They can afford to pay for fucking grass upkeep.
Yeah,
I agree.
That is true. I think we all had some good ones, though. I liked that question. I felt like that might be a little bit harder for everybody to answer because it was kind of on the spot. Didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it.
I mean, if you gave us time, we'd probably be spending 2 hours on it. So because there's so many things, but yeah, it's they need to figure out a way to make more changes, but they need to find a way to, I don't know. There's no way that everybody's going to be happy about a change in general, but
yeah. Yep. That's all the questions that I have. So,
all right. Well, before we do bold predictions, let's do our little sponsorship. So, 1 second.
Our first sponsor.
Yes, our first sponsor.
Baby's first sponsor.
All right. So I just want to take this minute to say, this episode is brought to you by Dubby, the energy drink of the future. Dubby is for anyone who wants to focus without jitters or crash. It's simple to use. All you need is 6 to 8 ounces of water. The powder packets. Oh, it's phasing out of existence. Hold on. You can sort of see it. And a shaker. I highly recommend buying their cup. That's what this is right here, the W logo on it. And my personal favorite flavor is Dragonade. I would show you, but I've already used the packet. It's in here currently. Their website is w.gg. We should have it in the description if you're watching this on YouTube as well. To get 10% off your order, you can use our code ALWAYSOUT at checkout. That's always out. A and the O is capitalized. And thank you to Dubby for sponsoring our podcast.
Dubby!
Yeah.
We love you, Dubby.
Dubby is love.
Yeah, Tyler's in our stream. Tyler is being shown as Dubby right now since he doesn't have his
I'm
webcam.
corporate.
Yeah, but I'm serious. Like when we did the sponsorship, I was hesitant at first, but then I was like, I gotta try it, and it is really good. The Dragonade is really good. I'm having it right now. All right. We ready for the bold predictions?
And our bold
Good.
predictions.
All right, hang on.
So who all sent in bold predictions?
I can't wait to be yelled at about my bold predictions. I'm ready.
Well, it's gonna happen.
There was some that, like, in my opinion, weren't really that bold, but
Gavin.
overall, yeah, but Gavin had one that was like, holy shit. And then I actually think I have one that's really like, y'all are gonna fucking shit on me for it. But anyway, so yeah, I think we got Gavin, Ryan's on here, and then all of us. I think that's all.
Woo!
So yeah, let's get into it. And I think for the most part, so we did 5 bold predictions. We all agreed to at least do 2 on our own teams, since we know more about those teams in general, and we can. Oh, you're echoing now, Tyler. Anyway, so let's move into it. All right, slide 1.
Better.
I like the slides.
All right, yeah. For our podcasting listeners on different platforms, we'll go through it. So Jason said that Trevor Lawrence is going to throw for 30-plus touchdowns. Ryan said the Cardinals don't get the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Matthew said the Texans go under 500 despite drafting CJ Stroud. I said Josh Allen and the Bills miss the playoffs. And in quotes, Madden curse, because he's on the Madden cover. Gavin said Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs don't win the AFC Championship. And then Tyler said the Broncos make a wild card spot in the playoffs. So, how we feeling about this slide?
Out of every one of them, who does everybody think is the most likely to happen?
Most likely to happen?
Yes.
I think the Cardinals not getting the first pick. I could see them finding a way. It feels like they're tanking, but also I could totally see them pulling a Texans like this last year and somehow just get second instead.
I don't know if Trevor Lawrence will get exactly to 30. He might get close. I don't know if he'll get to 30.
I don't know. I could see him getting to 30, especially now that they added Calvin Ridley. He's got one extra target to throw to.
I will say he had 27 last year.
Yeah.
So, the one I see most likely to happen though is Matthews with the Texans going under 500. I don't think they're gonna win. I don't think they're gonna win half their games. Not yet.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that the Broncos one is very likely to happen. I think that this will be a year that they finally do turn it around. I actually almost put that on as one of mine, but that they were gonna make the playoffs.
Me and Matthew are big believers in Sean Payton.
That's really what it comes down to.
I mean, I really hope y'all are right for my sake.
I think he'll turn around that team. We already knew the defense is like an all-star defense, so they just had to figure out their fucking offense.
Yeah.
So, and that's probably why. I mean, me and Jason talked about it before. Is like it's probably why it's better that they ended up getting Sean Payton over like DeMeco Ryans, who was also kind of in the running. Of course, he wanted to go to the Texans, so that's the only thing. Like. That's also why I almost kind of found this to be bold, because I do think the Texans will be better this year because they've got a better coach. So, but I could see it happening still. Cause
I mean, I could still see
them
him going under 500.
Yeah,
there's a lot of these that I could see happening.
Yeah, I don't. As far as this first slide goes, I don't think there's anything that's like, whoa.
So,
yeah.
So, did you make the PowerPoint as a least bold to most bold?
I just kind of did it random. The predictions for our teams are the last 2 slides because those are the ones we talk about the most. But the first 3 slides are just kind of random.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should mention Jason made this one. So thank you, Jason, for making the visual for us. All right, next slide. Okay, so Jason said the Bills are going to win 12-plus games and exit the playoffs in the first round.
That sounds like a Bills season.
That sounds like a Bills season to me. Ryan said the Chiefs lose their first playoff game they play. That could be pretty bold.
Okay.
Matthew said Aaron Rodgers has another down year and calls it quits. I said
he talks about it every season.
Yeah, I said Jonathan Gannon will be fired at the end of the season. He's going to be the new Cardinals head coach. Of course, he was a defensive coordinator at the Eagles. Gavin said the Lions will win the NFC North. That doesn't feel very bold to me at all. I feel like most of us think that. And then Tyler said the Seahawks will win the NFC West. So
I want to say Gavin's is the least bold by far on this slide.
Yeah.
I
Like,
agree.
it's not even close. Tyler's is like mild because the 49ers are going to be really good again. So, but the Seahawks are going to either finish first or second in their division. They're
They
not going to
also
be third or fourth.
added Jackson Smith-Njigba to that stacked wide receiver core.
Oh,
yeah,
that
no.
is true. That is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see it happening.
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel like the NFC is so much easier than the AFC right now.
Oh, yeah.
AFC is fucking
It is.
stacked.
Yeah.
So I definitely see it. I mean, it can happen with the Seahawks for sure.
Steven,
I don't
feel
think
like-
they'll fire Gannon after a year.
I don't think so. I think that you gotta at least. I say you have to give them at least 2 years, but
I mean,
most people don't.
unless he does some shit like how Nathaniel Hackett did for the Broncos, I don't see him getting fired. But who knows?
The only thing I see, so as I said earlier, I think most of us believe the Cardinals are tanking. I mean, with the moves they've been making, it's like, how are y'all not? So maybe it's like, okay, but can you imagine how fucking funny it would be if like they had planned to tank and then they're like, oh, you let us down, Gannon, and then just fire him. So that's why I was like, this is a bold prediction. It's like, how funny would it be if they're like mad that he tanked and he's like, what the fuck? I thought that was the plan. But but at the same time, like, I don't know if y'all seen Gannon like talking with the players. Like, there's footage of it. I don't think he's gonna connect well with the players at all. Like, from what I've seen, like any of the players that he's met and they've shown footage of it. Like, have y'all seen that moment where he goes up to that guy and he's like, pew pew pew? Like, it's like really cringy.
Yeah.
That's the impression I get, that he's how he is with the locker room. So I don't think that's gonna be good for their team. So, and I still think Gannon is overrated because obviously he won a head coaching job, like all coordinators do. And I feel like, yes, he was on the Eagles, but it was really their offense that was incredible. Their defense had good moments, don't get me wrong, but they absolutely fucked the second half, fucked it up in the second half of the Super Bowl. So I just don't think he's actually all that worth it. I think Steichen going to the Colts was a lot better because, I mean, he was their offensive coordinator, and we saw what he was able to do with that team. So
I could see the Aaron Rodgers things happening because honestly, it just seems like it's a 50-50 thing to me. If like they'll be good or if they'll be bad. You know?
That's exactly how I feel. I think they'll either go to the AFC Championship or they're gonna have like 5 wins.
See, I would to spice up Ryan's. I would have said that the Chiefs would lose or would have a road playoff game and lose because Mahomes hasn't played a road playoff game.
That was the other thing. Like, when Jason first sent this to me, that was one thing we were talking about. It's like he says first playoff game they play, which means he's not ruling out they get the 1 seed and get that bye. So it could end up being in the divisional round instead of the wild card round. So
I can't wait for all of these things to happen somehow.
we do need to, at the end of the season. I mean, it doesn't have to be at the end of the season for mine, especially. We need to see what our
Who was the most accurate?
Yeah, what our record is as far as a group. I think that'll be fun.
For sure.
All right, let's move on. There we go. All right.
You went too far.
Yeah, you skipped one.
You went one.
Did I?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Are we good now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got 2 Falcons ones on this one.
Okay. So, Jason said the Patriots will have a bottom 5 offense this season.
I could see that happening for sure.
Ryan said the Jaguars will make a Super Bowl run. And when he sent it to me, he said with words of they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. So it's not just a playoff run. It's actually a Super Bowl run. Matthew, the Falcons will find their quarterback and win the NFC South. I said Bijan Robinson finishes top 5 in rushing yards.
That's pretty bold.
It is by far the boldest thing I put on there. Gavin said Baker Mayfield leads the Bucks to an NFC South championship. And Tyler
NFC South love on the slide.
I know.
Yeah. And Tyler said the Vikings will finish 3rd in the NFC North. So, where do we want to start? This is a big slide right here.
Let's start on Stevens because I really would like to know.
I knew it. So that's okay. So there's a lot of good running backs out there. So
Yeah,
this is
a lot of them.
Yeah. Bijan Robinson is a stud. I mean, he's gonna be a good player, and I'm thinking like, even though I think the Falcons reached for going for him at like they picked what like
8.
8. Okay.
8.
So I feel like that was a little too early to take Bijan Robinson. I definitely was expecting him to go to one of the later teams, but they obviously wanted him big, and we got to think about who their head coach is. Arthur Smith. You know, obviously we all knew who he was earlier on in the season.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's gonna like the run game for sure, and Bijan is gonna definitely be RB1 in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
So, I think he'll be in. I just think he'll be good. So
I mean, I can see that happening. Now, if you put like that they finished like 12-5 or something with them, that's where I would draw the line.
No, I don't think they'll still. I still don't expect the Falcons to be all that great, but I do think Bijan is going to be a highlight of their team. Now,
I think if he gets top 5 in rushing yards and my slide where they figure out their whole quarterback, which I think is going to be Taylor Heineke, but they might have a pretty decent team. I don't think they'll go win 12 games, but
we also got to remember the NFC South is kind of wide open in general.
Oh
so.
Yeah. It only took 8 games to win that division last year. So
Yeah.
Panthers could do it.
No, so if you want to know my honest opinion of what I think will happen, top 15. But to be bold, top 5. That's what I wanted to go with. You know, like I said, these bold predictions. These are just like So I went extremely bold on that.
Just wait until you get to my Packers predictions.
Yeah.
I like the Patriots will have a bottom 5 offense.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna struggle. I think Bill Belichick is on his way out.
Probably.
The one good thing that we can say is, we obviously all know Bill O'Brien pretty well from playing or for coordinating for Alabama, but I do think as far as, he's still going to be better than their offensive coordinator they had last year. I mean, they really they had defensive coordinator as an offensive coordinator. So, and we got to remember, Mac Jones looked real bad this year. But he did really good the first year. Like he was surprisingly good.
Daniels.
Yeah. So, maybe the Patriots get it together, but we also have to remember the division they're in is rough.
Yeah.
But
I don't see them making it out of being even 3rd in their division.
Yeah, they're in the roughest division right now, in my opinion. On both sides, AFC, NFC. AFC East is just like way up there. So,
Gavin, we're really bold here, though. That's.
None of us are big Baker Mayfield fans, I guess.
I also like what do our Titans fans think of what Ryan says here with the Jaguars going to the Super Bowl?
I think the Super Bowl is bold. I definitely can see them making the playoffs. In my opinion, it's going to be, I think it's still going to be probably between the Jaguars and the Titans. for the division. And I mean, especially if they play like they played in the second half of this last season, and adding Calvin Ridley, like we said, because he's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
I can just see the T-Law Ridley connection just getting them there for sure. So I don't
Ridley still on his rookie contract, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I don't know about Super Bowl. And I will tell you, so Ryan sent these to me first because like we weren't sure if it was going to be me or Jason doing the visual. And when Ryan sent this to me, I was like, I fucking hate you. All right, let's move on. Okay. So, Jason said the Broncos will win 12-plus games this season. Oh, my bad. I just realized I fucked up something. Let me go back real quick. Sorry. I just realized I forgot to switch this to the slide that shows the whole PowerPoint up to this point. So I'm going to go back real quick. Sorry. 1 second. So we're going to quickly go through this again because I had it still showing, but only the like window. So I'll go through this just real quick.
Pause if you need to.
Okay. All right, we're good. So now we've got this slide. Jason said the Broncos will win 12-plus games this season. Ryan said Pete Carroll or Bobby Wagner retire after this season. I don't understand the or, but, you know. Matthew, the Packers will have a top 5 defense. I said Chigakonkwo will be a top 5 tight end in yards. There's my other big bold one. Gavin said Jalen Phillips records 10-plus sacks this season. And then Tyler said Titans will have a 1,000-yard receiver.
Ooh. Chigakonkwo?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be Burks. Burks could be.
I mean, I knew Matthew was going to want to start with me, so go ahead. What's your question?
No, it wasn't much of a... My question was pointed towards both of you, basically. Who is going to be the 1,000-yard wide receiver, and will it be Chigakonkwo?
I mean, anything's possible.
I guess.
He looked really. I mean, he had his moments last year.
I was gonna say the only if it's any of them, it will be Treylon Burks. But if it's not him, there's no. I don't think anybody will get close to 1,000. But it is possible. They're bold predictions for a reason.
Yeah, these are very bold. So I will tell you the reason I said Chigakonkwo will be a top 5. Again, this is another thing where what I actually think is he's going to be like top 15, top 10. But to be bold, I was like, yeah, let's say he's top 5. Why not? So I think Chig looked really good last year. He was probably one of the only, like, especially once Treylon Burks got hurt and everybody got hurt on our offense. Chigakonkwo was definitely a shining star. As far as the only thing that we could do, especially when Tannehill was still in there, because he got hurt too. Tannehill threw to Chig a lot because he was getting open and he was making big plays. And he wasn't even tight end 1. Tight end 1 was technically Jeff Swaim last year, who's more of a blocking.
Austin Hooper.
Or Austin Cooper. But
Hooper.
Austin Hooper, excuse me. Can't talk. But yeah, and of course Hooper went to the Raiders now, so they don't have Hooper anymore. Swaim isn't listed anymore, and they brought in Trayvon Wesco, who's going to probably be more the blocking tight end. So if Vrabel actually does what I want him to, and actually have use tight ends as much as I want, especially with Tim Kelly coming in as the offensive coordinator, he likes his tight end type plays. I think Chig's going to get a lot of opportunities this year, and it's his sophomore season. Maybe he makes that sophomore jump. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's why I had him on there. Now, you can ask Tyler now about his 1,000-yard. Who are you thinking it's going to be, Tyler?
I mean, I really think I think Burks will stay healthy all year. I just think it's going to be Burks. I mean, he had flashes last year. It's just he got a concussion in the Eagles game, and then just getting used to stuff. So. I think he can get 1,000 yards.
I mean, I could see it.
I should have put touchdowns on there too, but
how many touchdowns do you think he'll get?
At least 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
To get 1,000, I think he's
touchdowns.
got to get 10.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I will say, at first I was very, uh, skeptical on Matthews, but the more I think about it, they actually do have a pretty good defense. So I can actually see them having a top 5 defense this year.
I think if our new rookies can actually stop the run and we stay healthy, we will have a great defense. Because our problem over the past like 3 years has been just not being able to stop the run at all. And then all of our young guys keep getting injured, so we don't have anybody in the back or in the secondary to actually help Jair Alexander. So maybe if we can stay healthy, I think we caught it, but you never know. You really don't.
And it does help that you get to play Kirk Cousins twice.
Yeah.
You get some picks, especially now since Dalvin Cook isn't there.
That's true.
Yeah.
We ready to move on?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. We switch. There we go. All right. So Jason said Russell Wilson will have a 5-1 touchdown interception ratio. Ryan said the Seahawks will have a top 5 scoring offense. Matthew said
That's very skippable.
Matthew said Jordan Love will be top 8 in passing yards.
That's my guy.
I said the Titans will have a top 10 defense, top 5 in rushing. Gavin said Tyreek Hill will have over 1,700 receiving yards.
I think he put total yards. He might have put receiving yards. I know when me and him talked about it, he said total. But either way, I don't see it happening whenever he's suspended.
Yeah.
And then Tyler said the Titans will have a top 15 defense. So he went a lot less bold than I did on this one. But let's talk about Gavin's first for sure.
Yeah, he did say total yards in his prediction.
Okay.
So that includes after
rushing yards.
Yeah, after
Rushing.
carry. So
It's still
pretty bold. I mean,
because I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, I can't really put any money on the Dolphins until Tua plays an entire season. I can't make a bet on any of their receivers
Props.
getting yards that you can't until Tua actually finishes a whole season. Which I don't know. I don't see Tyreek getting 1,700 anyway, but
knowing he has another receiver like Jalen Waddle,
yeah.
You gotta keep Tua healthy so you can actually have a quarterback that can throw to him too.
I mean, honestly, out of all these though, at Ryan's I can see like 100% being a thing.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
they're fucking stacked at wide receiver, and yeah, they've got an offense for sure.
Steven, I know you had a question for Matthew about his.
Why 8? Why top 8 and not top 10, top 5?
Because I think he'll be right at 8. I don't think he'll be top. Or I could have said top 10, but top 8 sounds better.
Okay.
Yeah, top 8 does sound better.
I guess, because that was the first thing that jumped out to me. I'm like, he didn't go for like a normal number. You went for top 8 specifically.
No. I don't think he'll be 10. I think he'll be right at 8. That's just what it is.
You were like 10 too safe. 5 is too bold. Let's go in between.
If you think about it, top 8 is the top quarter in starting quarterbacks because there's 32.
That's true.
Top 25%.
What I'm saying is Jordan Love is gonna be number 1 in every category this season, even receiving and rushing yards, and we're gonna win the Super Bowl.
That's
but
very
top
bold.
8, he's gonna be 8th in passing yards.
Yeah. Sorry, except for passing yards, he'll be 8th.
I think I do believe that people aren't giving Jordan Love enough credit. I do too. I do think he'll be good. It's just he's just been in a situation where he's just been stuck behind Rodgers.
People aren't giving the Packers this season enough credit. It's just we'll see. I can't go too bold on it, saying that we're going to actually be crazy good because I don't know. I haven't seen 90% of our team actually play in the NFL. So
And this goes back to what I was saying of just like I think the NFC is pretty open So I think it
Yeah.
helps that the Packers are in the NFC because their schedule probably won't be nearly as hard as what people in the AFC are having to deal with. So
No, our schedule's not too bad this year. I know we do play the Chiefs and the Broncos and a couple of the Jets. No, I don't think we do play the Jets this season. Either way,
Oh, no, that'd be a big ticket, Matthew.
it would.
I
like
the
how
Broncos have a
like-minded
stupid
we
hard
are,
schedule.
Steven.
what, Tyler?
I like how like-minded we are.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's.
I didn't want to be too bold and say top 10. That's why I said top 15.
Just a top 8.
That's the thing. It's bold predictions though, so that's why I was like all in. Like I'm gonna go bold. Like I'm gonna do a little bit higher than what I actually think is gonna happen. So let's move on to the next slide.
That's it.
Oh, that's
it. That should be it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. So because I apologize to the YouTube people. Y'all can probably still see it because it's on my screen for the sharing screen, but I on the first few slides I forgot to switch to where it just shows just the PowerPoint. So let's go back through it again. Let's start at the beginning here. So let's make this fun. Let's all say who we think is the most bold on each slide.
Most bold?
Most bold on each slide. So this one, which one are we saying? Let's decide as a group what's the most bold, I think.
Probably the Chiefs not winning the AFC Championship at this point. I mean, fuck, they've been every single year the past 5 years or something.
I'll agree with that.
That's
I'm going with that the Bills don't even make the playoffs. I think they'll at least get a wild card spot.
the Madden curse. You never know.
I did think it was weird they went with Josh Allen. I mean, I understand. I mean, he's a big star. Most people, even people that don't necessarily watch the NFL, probably at least know who Josh Allen is to a certain
Another
extent.
quarterback on the cover.
Yeah, I feel like it's more the fact that they don't want to put Patrick Mahomes on the cover every year.
I mean, they had him and Brady on it together.
Yeah,
He's also been on it on his own.
Yeah.
So he's been on there twice.
All right, let's move on. All right. So we're at this slide now. This is giving, again, the YouTube crowd a better opportunity to see this full screen.
I'm gonna say Stevens. I just don't think they'll fire him after one season.
Yeah.
I won't disagree with that. It would be
Yeah.
incredibly stupid on the Cardinals' part.
The rest of them are pretty. I could see all of those actually happening. Except for the Chiefs. The Chiefs one's kind of. It's hard to bet against them whenever it's anything, for the most part.
Yeah.
Especially with Andy Reid still there. It's just like.
Yeah.
He's just like the crown jewel of coaches right now. You could say it's Belichick, but not lately. It's definitely been Andy Reid.
Yeah.
All right.
The Baker Mayfield one.
Really? It's not mine? It's gotta be mine.
I'm going with Stevens on this one.
It's gotta be mine.
I gotta go Stevens. Top 5 is crazy for the rookie.
This one stands out big time. Like if he ends up top 5, he has to be rookie of the year too.
Oh yeah.
He has to be. So
if he's not, I want to see the other person's stats.
So
Matthew wants seats.
Yeah.
So the big thing here I should mention too is so the other 4 that I gave Jason, I gave him way ahead, and then I was like, I need a 5th one. What am I gonna do? And then I was like, yeah, fuck it, going all in.
Bijan.
All right, now this slide.
Honestly, I'm torn on this one between Tyler's and my own.
I'm between mine and Tyler's for sure. Because
I don't think the Broncos will win 12.
That's
that's
pretty
a lot.
high.
I just don't know if they'll win 12.
I could see him getting double digits. I could see him getting 10.
I was gonna say I could see 9 or 10. 12, I don't see that.
Fair.
Honestly, all of these are pretty bold, except I don't know about. I can't really decide with Ryan's, with Pete Carroll or Bobby Wagner retiring.
The Bobby Wagner one wouldn't be that shocking.
No, I mean he's like 40 years old.
It would have been way more bold if he put "and" instead of "or."
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Pete Carroll, he's like in his 70s now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, I guess I could see it for sure. And then also I totally see Matthews too. I'm with most of y'all on that. Is that I can see the Packers having a top 5 defense. So
Yeah.
all right, yeah. This slide is a big one for sure. And then the last one.
The Tyreek Hill one. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek.
Now that I know that he's considering receiving and just rushing as well, it's not as bold, but it's still pretty bold. So I'm still going to go with Gavin on this one.
And that he could very well be suspended and miss like 5 games.
I mean,
or something.
even without the suspension, I just couldn't see him getting that because I mean he has Jalen Waddle as well to throw
I
to.
don't know. He had a shit ton of yards last season.
He did, but I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Or the 5-1. I'm sorry, Jason. The 5-1's a little. It's a little much for me, but
Russell Wilson is going to throw 35 touchdowns and only 7 picks this year.
write it down. Write it down.
Oh, we've got it bookmarked.
All right.
I mean,
And we'll
seeing Jordan, if Jordan Love does get top 8 in passing, I'll buy a jersey. I'll do it.
I can't wait for him to get exactly number 8, and you're just going to be like, hey, Steven. All right. Well, we will come back to this at the end of the year, and we're going to see.
We should check
can't
back
wait.
at the halfway point too.
Yeah, we can
Oh,
see
yeah.
like how close, like we can see what the progress is for sure. And then maybe somebody has it and they end up losing it. That would be interesting too. Like,
Yeah.
like maybe Matthew, they got him at 10, and it's like, oh, he's real close. Then he just kind of slowly moves up.
He
Pulls up to
and he
8
gets the
right
first.
at the end. Yeah. Oh no, no, there's no way. If you said number 1 in passing yards, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
No,
All right.
He'll be top 2, but he's not number 2. Is all I'm gonna say.
But yeah, that's it. So this was fun, y'all.
I like that. I am excited to come back to him at the end of the season.
Yeah. Once again, sorry about not pulling it up to the full screen at certain parts in the beginning. But you should still be able to see it because I've got it on the screen here. But that wraps up the episode. Y'all got anything else you want to add in?
Go watch our last episode with Dalton
Yeah.
Cole if you haven't yet.
Go,
Let's get it to 1,000 views.
that would be awesome. Go buy from W. Remember code always out. Right?
Always out. Yeah.
Always out.
Get you 10% off.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you're listening on one of the other podcast platforms, make sure to check out our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@alwaysoutofmarket. And if you aren't already following us on Twitter, that's where we're going to post when we got a new episode out. It's @outofmarketpod. And thanks again for watching. Bye, y'all.
Peace.